And Barrett starts a very firm favourite indeed. 12 rounds it's scheduled for. Barrett of Manchester, known as the Black Flash, a title that's been pinched from a fighter of long ago called Roy Ankara of Ghana. Nardino, the former Italian light welterweight champion, making his first bid for a European title. And Barrett, 23 years old, who's ranked now in the top 10 of all the 3 major world organizations. 23 years old, the first defense of this title that he won in Salerno, in Italy, last summer with a 4th round knockout over Efren Calamati of Italy. And actually, Calamati holds a 4-round win over Nardino, so on that form line, Barrett is a hot favourite. The Italian came into the ring very heavily greased above both eyes. He's prone to cuts. The right hand over the top from Nardino. A little bit slappy. And it took Barrett by total surprise. Barrett has lost only once in nearly 4 years as a professional. And he's believed to have taken a drop in his purse here to get this fight in Great Britain. The normal procedure is for the champion to take 60% of the purse and the challenger 40, and the purse for this fight was £43,000, so Barrett should have had something like 25,000, but it's thought that he's given up some of that, and it's gone to Nardino in order to tempt the Italian to come to this country. And a little jolting punch, and Nardino goes straight down from it. And that punch travelled no more than about 9 inches, and it looked totally innocent, and it dropped the Italian. Well, Barrett will be thinking to himself, no, I don't have to hit him too hard to get him down. Nardino's still looking dangerous with his own right, but he's not known as a puncher. And again, the right hand over the top from the Italian, and Barrett is not defending himself too well against that. Barrett has got a lot of height and reach advantage here, and yet the Italian is managing to get to him. Referee is from Denmark, Knut Jensen. This is an aggressive opening by the Italian. He's taken the play away from Barrett in the opening round. Nonetheless, there was one little jolting punch from Barrett in that opening round that seemed to drop the Italian very easily. Well, it was a stiff left jab, didn't travel very far, and it had sufficient force behind it to drop the Italian. He didn't slip, he was certainly punched down.
Second up, round 2.
Only 2 defeats on Nardino's record, and both of those defeats came in Italian championship fights. One in '86 and the other in '88. Barrett seems to have been taken a little bit out of his stride here by the aggressive opening from Nardino. Barrett cautioned about holding. And Barrett already beginning to get some anguish pleas from his corner to work a bit. And again he walks onto the right hand of the Italian. Nice uppercut from Barrett as he moves out of that corner. And the pace is hotting up. Well, Nardino has certainly come to try to take this title. He's not messing about. And he's got an injury underneath his right eye, Nardino. He's got quite a mark underneath the right eye, just to the side. And it looks as though it's going to swell. That's a good left hand again from Barrett. And that's the second time in 2 rounds that Nardino's been on the floor. So although he's doing a lot of work, the Italian is the one who's picking up the punishment. And another good left hook from Barrett, and he's going for the finish. Half a minute of this round left still. Plenty of time for Barrett. And although the Italian's still throwing punches and connecting, Barrett is walking through them. So Nardino now hurt and damaged by the right eye in this explosive start to this European light welterweight title fight. Okay, again, it's the big left. That was it. It was more a swing than a hook. Barrett is the former British champion. Lost just once in nearly 4 years as a pro. Had his first pro fight back on May Day 1987. Barrett is accustomed to quick wins. His last 2 fights have been non-title fights, and between them they didn't occupy him for more than 5 minutes. And the damage around Nardino's right eye looking a little worse again. But he's game. He's certainly a brave little fighter, and he's still determined to walk in, although he knows he's liable to walk onto trouble. Scoring with all those punches inside Nardino. Barrett doing nothing. But that right eye, the more I look at it, the worse it seems to get, and that's going to give him terrible trouble as this fight progresses. Barrett again looking lethargic. He only seems to open up in rare bursts. Nardino, of course, knows all about the eye trouble, and perhaps feels that he hasn't got too long in which to do this if he's going to win it. Barrett should be commanding the center of the ring and working from there and luring Nardino onto the left hand again. Quite extraordinary that Barrett is letting Nardino take all the initiative again, having had him twice on the floor. Again, that right hand of Nardino's over the top. It's as well for Barrett that he's not a big puncher. And Barrett again standing trapped in a corner and not too anxious to come out of it either. That was better. 2 good rights. Already beginning to rest his arms, which is not a good sign. He hasn't had too much competition lately. And again, these punches all getting through from Nardino. They may not be heavy, but there are a lot of them coming, and they're taking toll around the body of Pat Barrett. And Barrett looks, well, he looks tired to me, and we've only had 3 rounds. And he hardly threw a worthwhile punch in that round, which is quite extraordinary, having had the man in real trouble. in the second. Four rounds completed, and although the Italian's been on the floor twice, I would think he's ahead. He's certainly done at least 5 times as much work as Barrett. Another great glob of grease on the right eye of the Italian. New European Boxing Union rules were brought in December, and they included the sounding of a 10-second buzzer before each round, but I don't hear it here tonight. Barrett now changing tactics, getting up on his toes and moving very lightly and quickly around this ring and popping out left hands and doing rather better with that. He's got the reach, should use it. He's allowed Nardino to get swarm all over him in the first 4 rounds. And this is an entirely new tactic. I think the tactics here are to stick the left hand out into the face of the Italian and perhaps hope that the damage will worsen. Well, at least he's stopped Nardino getting in close and working, but at the same time he still hasn't looked all that impressive, Barrett. And it's a much stronger looking Nardino who strides back to his corner. 5 rounds completed. Here's Barrett, the black flash, making the first defense of this European title. 28 wins in 30 professional fights.
Second, round 6.
And once again, Pat Barrett, the champion, is up on his toes and moving. The only man who's ever beaten Barrett is Paul Burke of Preston, who beat him in Barrett's 3rd professional fight on points in a 6-rounder. That was at Bradford in 1987. Barrett won the vacant British title in his 20th professional fight with a 9th round knockout over Tony Willis of Liverpool. He defended it once and beat Robert Harkin of Scotland on points, and then dropped the British title after he'd won the European title.
Let go. Let punches go. Come on.
Barrett's still very loath to let the punches go. He certainly lacks the confidence to go forward.
On top now, on top.
Barrett waiting all the time for the Italian to make the first move. That's a good left hook. He brought one over at last, and that might be the end of the evening for the Italian. He's not going to beat the count. The Danish referee counts 10 over him. It's all over in the 6th round, and Pat Barrett of Manchester has successfully defended his European title. But you have to say that he took his time about it, and in a way made very hard work of it, even if it didn't go quite the halfway. But he had the punch to finish the man, and finish the man he did, and in fact the Italian is not up on his feet yet. Let's have another look. It was the left hand again, the one that had been doing all the trouble. There it was, brought right round from off the ropes. A scything, scimitar-shaped punch, and very effective with it. Here it comes. Beautifully turned. The knuckle part of the glove coming straight onto the chin of the Italian, who never looked like beating the count. Barrett coming out for the second defence of his European light welterweight title. He's coming out of the left-hand corner wearing black and gold. And his challenger tonight, Mark McCree, born in Yorkshire, lives in Bracebridge in Lincolnshire, and is based for professional boxing in Belgium. So this is an unusual challenge by McCree. He wasn't the original opponent. He comes in as a substitute. He's ranked 7th in Europe. And now he faces the Black Flash, Pat Barrett from Manchester, who came in exactly on the 10-stone limit again today, just as he did for his recent defence, which again just gives one a suspicion that he might be having 1 or 2 small weight problems. Anyway, he's made the weight, and here he is tonight in his 32nd professional fight. And McCree on the right with that red Indian haircut is having only his 11th pro fight. So on paper, it looks, the odds look quite overwhelming. For Barrett, on the other hand, we know McCree from his amateur days in this country to carry quite a punch. In fact, they both do. So this could be quite explosive. Barrett, the champion, in black and gold, he's 23, and McCree will be 27 next month. Barrett is what I would term a hot and cold fighter. When he really goes for things, he looks sensational, but he can have periods of lethargy, as he did in his first defence of this title against Salvatore Nardino only 9 weeks ago, when he had his man down twice in the opening rounds and then almost went to sleep for the next 4 rounds and then produced one punch which finished it. McCree is the former ABA welterweight champion. 1988 he won that. He's had 1 defeat as a pro, McCree, in 10 fights, and that was when he attempted to win the Belgian welterweight championship. Barrett playing it quite cautiously in this opening round, which leads me to suppose that he knows all about the punching power of McCree. And McCree looks quite confident in this, his first professional fight in his own country. Pat Barrett, known in Manchester and elsewhere as the Black Flash, was voted the best young boxer of last year by the Boxing Writers Club, and only a few days ago he was in London at one of London's big hotels receiving his award from the club. Pat Barrett, 31 fights, 29 wins, and 22 of those have been inside the distance. A draw and just one defeat, which came in his third fight in 1987, his third pro fight at Bradford, and he lost on points to a Preston boxer called Paul Burke. And McCree has also had just that one defeat in October, last October, when he fought for the Belgian welterweight title against Patrick Vungbo and lost on points, although he actually dropped his opponent and in the end ran him quite close. McCree, the challenger, on the right in the light blue trunks. The original challenger for this contest was Tex Nkalankete, a French-based African who used to hold this title at one time. In fact, he once went the distance with Terry Marsh, but he was ruled out by the European Boxing Union on the grounds of inactivity. He hadn't fought for almost a year, and that gave McCree his chance to challenge for Barrett's title. Barrett won this title against an Italian in Italy, which was no mean feat. Each man reluctant to lead. We haven't yet seen Barrett really spring into action, as he can do. He produced a huge left hook when he knocked out Salvatore Nardino 9 weeks ago at Wembley, and this time he's on the floor. And there's a demonstration of McCree's punching power. Now then, do we have a major upset on our hands here? McCree will certainly be looking for it now in the second round. Barrett looking distinctly uncomfortable, trapped in the corner, constantly looking to his own corner. There's not going to be too much help coming from there until the bell goes. Barrett takes a deep, deep breath. Badly shocked, I think. I know there was a feeling in the McCree camp that he was probably having weight problems, and they thought this might well be on their side. And they might be right. Barrett walks a little dejectedly back to that corner. I think he was quite badly hurt by that knockdown. He looked for a few moments as though he was even considering sitting down there for the count. Well, it was a major surprise, although we knew McCree had a punch, but I didn't really expect him to do such damage early on. Let's have another look at it. Barrett trying to dodge this way and that, looking as though he's trying to work his own punch in, and then that beautiful left hook, which is precisely what I was saying at the time when he was knocked down. Barrett had won his last fight with a very similar punch, another left hook. But this time, he was the victim. Here's the man who did it, Mark McCree from Bracebridge in Lincoln. So McCree, in the pale blue trunks, with a knockdown to his credit, enters the third round, full of hope and confidence, grinning all over his face now at Barrett. So if Barrett does actually fall into his best routine, he could possibly wipe that smile off McCree's face. That's a good right hand, top of the head. McCree took it well, but went in to hang on. And Barrett, for the first time, is opening up, and the punches are beginning to spatter around the head of the challenger. McCree hasn't since produced another beautiful left hook like the one that floored Barrett. Really was a case of the biter bit there. Barrett concentrating hard on catching McCree with a right hand as he comes in. But most of them have landed high on the head. Really is quite extraordinary that McCree can pop up from Belgium, where he hasn't had too distinguished a professional career so far. He's never boxed in his own land as a pro, and suddenly pops up at the Albert Hall and drops the European light welterweight champion on the floor. Very nearly went through the ropes there, but there are 4 strands holding him up. Under EBU rules, you must have 4 ropes now. So the 3rd round goes by without McCree repeating his success of the 2nd. McCree was a very well-known amateur. He won the ABA welterweight title in this country in 1988, and then a few months later his amateur career ended under, well, rather unfortunately. He had a win for England against Czechoslovakia, and after the international, some drug tests were taken, and he was found to have a trace of caffeine in his system, and that was on the banned list of drugs. He admitted that he'd taken some caffeine tablets as stimulants. He didn't know, he said, they were on the banned list, but the ABA suspended him indefinitely, and because of that, and because he hadn't been picked for the Olympics, he walked out of amateur boxing and then turned up in Belgium and got his license there to box professionally. McCree actually had his first professional fight, of all places, in Estonia, in Tallinn. And he and his opponent, he won that fight, he and his opponent were the first professional boxers ever to take part in a contest in the Soviet Union. Barrett looking again lethargic, and McCree popping the jab out and catching Barrett quite easily with it. And Barrett very badly needs one of those punches that turn things around. touch of the Barrett left hook. Double left hook, actually, one to the body and then instantly whipped in to the head. A good one. That's the one that beat the Italian Nardino. And McCree wobbled. He smiled, but he wobbled. He needs to follow this up quickly, Barrett. He hasn't followed it up. But that was the first sign of frailty on McCree's part. Barrett at last beginning to drop into some sort of rhythm, putting some useful combinations together. Turned his man neatly. McCree going through a rough patch. Well, it's an interesting fight, and I wouldn't like to bet which way this turns out. It could go either way. Round 5 coming up, and we've had one knockdown. Barrett knocked down in the second, and in that round, McCree certainly shaken by left hook. Here we are. We'll see it again here. He got behind the guard with it, actually. The right hand was up trying to guard the chin, and Barrett actually got his left hook behind the glove and caught McCree on the side of the jaw. And although McCree smiled, you can take it from me that he was hurt. It's a thing that boxers often do, trying to kid the other boxer they're not hurt, and it's a dead giveaway. McCree prematurely balding at the age of not quite 27. Round 5. No lack of excitement so far. McCree has certainly moved around as a pro. He's boxed, as I said, in Estonia. He's also boxed in Yugoslavia, in France, and of course in Belgium. But this is the first time he's been seen in Britain since his amateur days. McCree's amateur record has some good victims' names in it, including Richie Woodhall. He beat him. Richie Woodhall, who won a bronze medal in the Seoul Olympics and is now a professional. Mark Elliott, another man he beat. All good amateurs. So he's not short of class. But he's had a very short professional career, and he really hadn't done anything that stamped him as a likely winner of this fight. But he wouldn't say that now. McCree's doing all the chasing. Still working behind the left jab. Almost produced another good left hook there. Barrett was just out of range, but only just. McCree leaning on him. We have an Italian referee here, by the way. If this goes a long way, it's scheduled for 12 rounds, of course, as a championship fight. If it does go a long way, it'll be interesting to see where the stamina lies. If Barrett is having any weight problems, that will tell. McCree is cut. McCree is cut on the left eye. That cut appeared in the closing seconds of the round. Left eye above the left eye, and it doesn't look to me as though it's a minor cut either, because there's quite an amount of blood already trickling down his face. It's at the side of the face, under the eyebrow, and it's a dangerous place to have a cut. The blood will run into the eye. So that's an unfortunate turn of events where McCree's concerned, going along quite steadily, and then presumably from a punch in the closing seconds, in the last 10 seconds or less of that round, the blood suddenly appeared. So that will give a good deal of encouragement to Barrett. McCree comes out with a good deal of grease above the left eye, where the cut is. One knockdown so far. The champion was on the floor in the second round from a left hook. Hasn't quite had his own back. There's another good left hook from McCree, and Barrett was hurt again. And Barrett has lost his temper. He is, in fact, now fighting mad at this moment, gritting his teeth, snarling, scowling. Well, maybe that was what he needed to wake him up. There. 1, 2, 3 punches. McCree is clapping his hands, sitting on the floor, smiling. He gets up unsteadily. The referee is having a laugh. Well, McCree was certainly hurt. I don't know what the funny side of it was, because he took quite a few punches there. And he's caught again, and Barrett's going for the finish in the 6th. McCree's eye bleeding again. And suddenly McCree can do nothing but run. And McCree is very, very badly disturbed at this moment. And if Barrett can just steady himself and find a clean shot, he could finish this. And the referee has done it for him. McCree's complaining, naturally enough, but the referee has walked between them. Signor Casentini from Italy, and Barrett, in his second defense, retains the European Light Welterweight Championship. And after all the threats and the noises and the scowls and the sardonic laughing, they're pals. Well, let's see what happened there when McCree went on the floor in that round. There was a combination series here, good left there. That was the one, I think, that did most of the damage, and it was followed by the left hook, which is, of course, Barrett's favourite punch. And there was no doubt at all it was a genuine knockdown, and McCree was certainly badly hurt. Here we are again. That was the first right, and then the left hook. Beautiful 1-2. Now the overhead view, the bird's eye view, and it was a good combination series of punches here set up by Barrett. And that was the finish of the contest when the referee decided to step between them. And so in the 6th round, the Black Flash, Pat Barrett from Manchester, 23 years old, has won his 30th fight out of 32 and retains his European title. This time, not with one punch, but with a series.
Well, Pat, a pretty spectacular finish, but he really made you work pretty hard all the way through.
He did. You can't take it away. He's a good fighter. He's one of the best fighters up to date. His record speaks more for him. You know, I took him too lightly. You know, I had a great deal of respect for him. He was unknown. We'd only having 11 fights and 9 knockouts. I took him too light. I said, I can finish this fight. I'm going to have an early night tonight. But in there, he proves that he can. I trained hard for the fight, don't get me wrong. But he was a good fighter.
How surprised were you when he caught you with a very good punch in the second round?
I was very surprised, actually. It was like an alarm clock. It really did wake me up. I said, damn, this guy can punch. You know? And that's what I mean. That's why he's had 9 knockouts out of 10. He proves he's a dangerous fighter. He's a very dangerous fighter. There's one thing I will announce. I'm not promising, but I think I probably will finish after this now. I don't want to fight no more. I'm not saying I'm going to do it, but I'm thinking about it.
Let's have a little look at the finish again, because, I mean, with a finish like this, I don't think you should be even thinking about retiring. Let's have a look at it now.
At the time, I don't know, I found Mickey said, just keep going forward, back him up. The only time he's dangerous is when he's backing you up. And I found when I was backing him up, he was frustrated, he didn't know what to do. And I thought, even though if I keep throwing these punches, don't back off him, the referee will stop the fight.
Well, the man beside you is probably the man who can organise things for you.
By the way, does that sound to you like he's retiring?
Absolutely not. You tell me.
I think he'll retire when I'm retiring, and that'll be 10 years from now.
Oh, at the very least. Obviously, a fight with somebody like Julio Cesar Chavez is still very much in everybody's mind.
Very much in everybody's mind, and you have to be patient. He may get a fight with Garcia, the other champion, first. If we can't get that, we'll have to wait for the big one, and we'll take our shot. But eventually it has to get round him. All he has to do is keep winning. He's 24, 25 years young, not old.
23.
23, that's even better.
Jim Neely with Mickey Duff and Pat Barrett, who retains his Nakabono. And without...
Good evening. In just over 4 weeks' time, the undisputed heavyweight champion of the world defends his title. No, it's not the dump truck. He's just the undisputed heaviest. Harry Carpenter.
This is Barrett's third defence of this title. In more than 4 years as a pro, he's lost only 1 fight, and that was way back in his third professional fight. And Rashid Lawal, former European junior lightweight champion, and also fought for a version of the world welterweight title. Just 2 defeats on his record, and they were both in major title fights.
Seconds out, round 1.
12 rounds for the European light welterweight championship, held by the man in the black and gold trunks, Pat Black Flash Barrett, making one of his rare appearances tonight in front of his own fans in Manchester. And Rashid Lawal, this man from Denmark, but originally from Sierra Leone, considered to be quite a tough challenger. He's experienced, in good class. He'll come looking for Barrett. I think that's his usual style. He's going to be aggressive, and that might well suit the European champion. Each time Barrett has defended this title, he's stomped his opponent. He's not a consistent fighter, Barrett. He can be a little moody at times, but when he gets going and he does his work properly, he tends to look impressive. Well, Lawal, the challenger, should be a lot more comfortable in this fight tonight than he was a few months ago, when he challenged for the World Boxing Organization's welterweight title. Low punch from Barrett, and he didn't heed the referee's caution to stop boxing. Yes, Lawal was fighting for a version of the World Welterweight Championship a few months ago, which is a weight up from this. And, well, he went 6 rounds against Manning Galloway, and then he was in trouble against the American. And this is a good start from Lawal, and Barrett clearly covered up on the ropes. and took a couple of punches that quite distinctly hurt him. And Barrett needs to get away from these ropes, and accused of holding by the Dutch referee. This is not a good start by Barrett. Well, I'm quite certain he knew that Lowell would come looking for him, so he shouldn't be surprised at that. That's another good left hand from Lowell. They're wide punches, but they're catching the champion, and Barrett once again with his back to the ropes. But he's got a powerful punch, Barrett, and if he does get a good one in, well, the whole thing may turn. Well, it was a pretty rocky start for Pat Barrett of Manchester. And at times there, trapped on the ropes, he was in a considerable amount of trouble, and there's a little consternation, I suspect, in that corner. Brian Hughes, the trainer, inside with him, and Mickey Duff, manager, leaning over the ropes outside. Now a little look again at the trouble that Barrett got himself into in his own corner. That was a good right hand, and the left wasn't bad either. And these were moments when you, as I said, he was barely covered up. And that wasn't the only time in that round that he got himself in trouble. And that all came immediately after he got that rather stern caution from the referee about punching low and not breaking when he was told to.
10 seconds. Seconds out. Round 2.
So a pretty lively start to this European light welterweight championship. That's the 10-stone division. And Barrett weighed exactly on 10 stone today. In fact, he had to took a considerable amount of jewellery off, rings and bracelets, in order to make the 10 stone. And that's the second time in a row in a title fight he's come in dead on the limit. So one does have to feel that he's having weight problems. And if he is, well, this is the place it will show. Lowell, the former European junior light champion, that's 9 stone 4. That was from 88 to 89. He lost that title to Daniel Londas of France in 89. He was stopped in 10 rounds, and then more recently, he retired after 6 rounds against Manning Galloway of the United States in that version of the world title. And now, Rashid Lowell's lower lip is showing signs of damage. So the potent punch of Barrett has found its way through. Second round. We've seen Barrett in fights before where he's looked pretty lethargic, and he suddenly can pull out a punch from nowhere and turn the contest. And Lowell is still forcing the pace. Barrett trying to get to him with the left hook. Well, although Lowell has come forward here, he hasn't done too much scoring in this round. And Barrett has mixed some good punches together. And I'm quite sure that Lowell has felt the power of them in this second round. And certainly the lower lip bears testimony to that. So 2 rounds completed. 1 apiece, I suggest. Rashid Lawal, born in Sierra Leone in Africa, but has lived in Denmark since he was 7 years old. Interesting thing about this man's record, before tonight, he's met 7 British opponents, and not one has beaten him. And they include good men like Steve Sims and John Doherty, former British champion, and Lloyd Christie. So his record against British boxers is 100%, but it might be different tonight. He was a well-known amateur before he turned pro. He boxed in the 85 European Amateur Championships in Hungary at lightweight then, but didn't get very far.
10 seconds. Seconds out. Round 3.
Pat Barrett, the champion from Manchester, or Collyhurst to be precise, in black and gold. Much prefers opponents who come to him. Likes to counterpunch, and counterpunches at times with stunning effect. Karl Kleinut, Dutch referee. And at the ringside there are judges from Italy, Spain and Switzerland. And if it goes all the way, they're the men who'll do the scoring, not the referee. That's a good full jolting left hand from Barrett. And Lawal running into trouble here as he comes forward. And the fans in the GMEX Centre here in Manchester beginning to get quite excited about Barrett's performance, which is looking better by the moment. The GMEX Centre here is actually the old Central Railway Station, which has been transformed into a fine arena. And Lawal's work rate is noticeably slowing, and he's got him with the left and right. And the man from Denmark tumbles over in the 3rd round. And now survival is looking extremely doubtful, and he's complaining to his corner about something. I don't know what it is, but he's looked down at his corner and complained. But on they go. And Lawal is clearly not happy, and I think this is going to be stopped at any moment. And in fact, it should be the way it's going. Well, this is a sample of the sort of fury that Barrett unleashes when he's on top. And I think the corner want this to be stopped, and the referee hasn't made a move yet. And still Barrett tries to get him again. Lawal has been on the floor once, and somehow, by thread, he manages to hang in there. And Barrett has taken a lot out of himself in this last minute. But Lawal is still standing, and the bell comes to his rescue. And Lawal goes back very unsteadily to his corner. And the doctor is on the ropes, having a close look at Lawal, who went through purgatory there. And for a moment, I had the impression the corner wanted the fight to be stopped. And it doesn't look to me as though he's properly come round yet. So this is the moment when Lawal almost went out of this fight. That double punch from Barrett, a good example of the sort of things he can do when he really gets going.
10 seconds. Seconds out. Round 4.
So the corner have decided that their man's okay. to come up for the fourth round, and I just hope they're right. Lowell will do well to get back into this contest now. It's the left hook that's causing him all the trouble as he advances. So Barrett slings that short, jolting left hook, and it's a good punch. Round 4. Well, I hope Barrett doesn't lose concentration now that he's had that dramatic third round. Sometimes when things don't quite go his way, he tends to lose a bit of concentration and his work begins to get a little ragged. Well, boring in with his head down, but getting away with it. And in fact, that head is giving Barrett considerable trouble. And again, Barrett counter-punching with venom. Well, Lowell's a brave man, and he's sticking to it, but he's not managing to put too many punches together. The occasional wild right to the head, but he's still coming forward and still walking on to Barrett's counter-punches. There it is again. That was the left hook again, and he's out on his feet almost, and he's taken one punch too many there. The referee didn't quite get him fast enough, and he's unsteady on his feet. It's the fourth round. The referee, the Dutch referee, has declared it all over. He looked into the eyes of Lowell, and he didn't like what he saw there, and it's all over, and it's time for the Barrett camp to celebrate in their own city of Manchester. That's the third defence, successful defence of the European Light Welterweight Championship made by Pat Barrett of Manchester, who is looking for a world title fight next year, possibly against Julio Cesar Chavez, the WBC champion. It's a great night for Pat Barrett. He did his work well. That was not an easy opponent. It was considered generally that it was a tough defence for Barrett, and Lowell was the mandatory challenger, but in the end he's disposed of the man from Sierra Leone and Denmark in pretty impressive style. Pat, congratulations. You did your job well tonight. Were you surprised it was as short as that? Because I think most people thought it might take you a bit longer.
I wasn't surprised, but I weren't exactly pleased with my performance, because in the early rounds, I got caught quite a lot. I didn't stick to my own game plan. I went out there and tried to be a crowd pleaser, and I let the crowd get behind me, and I went out there and tried to satisfy them instead of doing my own thing.
You certainly had a hard first round. I mean, you did catch you a lot in the first round.
Yeah.
How badly were you hurt?
Well, I weren't hurt, as in hurt, but I was very stunned. Very stunned. I was very surprised of his punching power and his own ability, because I mean, when I did have him in trouble, I mean, he came back very well. But partly that was myself again. I was very, you know, I didn't stick to my game plan. I kept rushing, and in some parts of it, I would look like a beginner.
But you like fighters who come to you, and he certainly came to you.
Well, I was very surprised that he did come to me, really. I mean, I didn't think he would come to me, because seeing him fight before, he's never really takes the fight to someone. He likes to have his own fight.
Anyway, in the third round, you began to get really on top. I think we can have a look at that. Now, this is a point at which, I don't know what you felt, but I thought after this that the fight could have been stopped at this point.
Well, I didn't know how it went on, you know. I was just in there just to try and finish him, just to try and get him out of there.
It seemed to me at the time that his own corner were pleading with the referee to stop it.
Well, I didn't really take notice of his corner.
Did you feel at that point that you might have stopped it there and then?
Yeah, I did actually, yeah. I mean, I thought that I did have the fight, well, I would have had the fight finished, but, you know, I'm just happy that it did go my way.
But it went on into the 4th round, and we can show you that as well, how it finished. Here it comes. Just talk me through this.
Well, in the 4th round, I mean, I knew when I threw the body shots on the left hook, there was power there, and it was hurting him. So I thought, well, if I continues to keep throwing him, that would suddenly slow him down, because he didn't like body shots.
Yeah. Well, I was glad the referee stopped it then, because he was in serious trouble, and
yeah.
There was no point in it going on. Let's have a word with Mickey Duff now, because you've got plans, I think, for Pat to go for the world title next year?
Yes, I have. There's a problem that in boxing today, the better you are, the harder it is to get a world title fight, unless you're number 1. Pat, unfortunately, is still number 3 with the WBC, and therefore it's very difficult to lure Julio Chavez into a title fight. But we may well go another route. We may go for the world WBO welterweight title. Manning Galloway, who also stopped this fellow recently, he's the WBO champion. He may well come over here. And Pat is big enough to box as a welterweight. I think he'd even be more comfortable at the weight. It doesn't mean to say he can't make the weight, but he has to work a little hard to make it.
All right, let's just have a final word from Pat. How about being a welterweight? Does that appeal to you?
It does. I mean, as long as it's a world title fight anyway, I mean, it doesn't particularly bother me. But first of all, I'd like to thank my trainer, Brian Hughes, who's done everything, Sam Slattery and Billy Coulter, and everybody else who's behind him.
And the American is used to fighting and winning away from home. Barrett's only lost 1 out of 34. Galloway isn't impressed.
You can have a record of 20-0 with 20 knockouts, but you look at the paper and say, well, who has he fought? Who has he fought? Anybody I know, and big name person on there? So no, it don't bother me. I might be, I will be his toughest, hardest fight ever.
Barrett's lethal hitting has produced 25 knockouts, but no one's done this sort of demolition job on Galloway, who's got a choir boy's face, despite 14 years in the game.
I have a son that's 13, and we went places, and they thought, you know, we shoot basketball a lot, and they might think I'm his older brother, or like an example, we was at the swimming pool one time, and they said, is that your older brother? I said, nah, that's my dad. And it's just...
Can Pat Barrett become Manchester's first world champion for nearly 60 years?
Every country I go to, the crowd go crazy. They all think the same thing, and y'all probably out there thinking the same too, but it's not gonna happen.
I ain't gonna go out now and say I'm gonna knock him out or how I'm gonna win, because I don't know how I'm gonna win. You know, I can't predict anything, but all I can say is that I'm gonna win.
Also tonight, Derek Angle, undefeated, gets a crack at the vacant WBO cruiserweight crown. Like Barrett, Angle, the 27-year-old Londoner, has had a frustrating wait. Tyrone Booz is the man in Angle's way. He's a 33-year-old from Clearwater in Florida, and he's a very big outsider. We'll show you that scrap after Barrett against Manning Galloway. Well, then, if Pat Barrett is going to become a world champion at 10 stone 7, he's going to have to dislodge one of the craftiest fighters in the business. Manning Galloway, really a fully paid-up member of the Who Needs Him club. Other fighters avoid him because he makes them look dreadful and then gets the verdict. But Barrett is very fit, he's very fast, he's ambitious, and he's got those lethal punches as well. We'll be right back with the fight live in a couple of minutes.
Up and ready to go. So are Jim Watts and Reg Guthridge. First of all, your MC, Mike Goodall.
Ladies and gentlemen, from the GMX Manchester, good evening. This is the main event of the evening, sponsored by the Daily Sport and Sunday Sport newspapers, the newspapers best for British boxing. Frank Warren Productions proudly presents a contest of 12 three-minute rounds to decide the WBO Welterweight Championship of the World. Your officials for this contest, appointed by the WBO, the supervisor in charge, Mr. John Montano from USA, the British Boxing Board of Control steward, Mr. John Morris. The referee for this contest, Mr. Stanley Christodoulou from South Africa. The judges, Mr. Nelson Vasquez Santiago from Puerto Rico, Mr. Jose Antonio Salcido from the Dominican Republic, and Mr. Harold Lederman from the USA. The WBO Welterweight Championship of the World. Introducing in the blue corner, wearing the black and gold trunks, the challenger from Manchester, the European and former undefeated British welterweight champion, Pat Black Flash Barrett. And in the red corner, wearing the plain black trunks from Ohio, USA, the WBO welterweight champion of the world, Manning Galloway. At the weigh-in at 11 o'clock this morning, Barrett scaled 10 stone, 4 pounds and 10 ounces. Galloway, 10 stone, 7 pounds. 12 3-minute rounds of boxing for the WBO Welterweight Championship of the World.
So the official there, Stanley Christodoulou, this is his 57th World Championship from South Africa. A very good referee indeed. Just making sure there are not too many seconds in the corner as he gives them the final rundown. Of course, the inspectors and the referee have been in the dressing rooms just to give them the formality. Remember, if any one boxer goes down 3 times in the same round, then it's automatically over under World Boxing Organization rules. Become the home of the WBO by the look of it. Now, is this going to be explosive? We hope so, because Pat Barrett is the puncher, and this skilled southpaw Manning Galloway slips, slides, and from what I've seen of him, he knows more moves than the Palladium Chorus line. So it's a question of whether Barrett can catch up with him. A very slippery style. He gets avoided, and he has to fight in other people's backyards to make some money, but he does it well. 60 fights he's had. So that's the end of a long, disappointing run now for Pat Barrett, not in terms of victories, but having the European Championship stripped from him, giving up the British title, and I think it's about 5 times they've tried to make this match, and injuries and disputes have stopped it, and now it's finally on. And it couldn't be better for Barrett in his hometown. First time I've seen a champion with graffiti on his shorts there, Galloway, Jim.
Yeah, I was just thinking, I wonder if we'll see Galloway in the seat of his pants tonight. We've seen it already. It's his name that's on there. But already, although he's skillful already, he looks awkwardly skillful, Reggie. Some of the moves he's made already, I think he's going to be very difficult to pin down. You know, he's turning side on to Barrett, threatening to flick a jab, walking away, changing his mind. He looks really as though he's learned all the tricks. And he's just really, at this moment, having a look at Barrett. But he seems to have quite a strong right jab. I wonder if he's one of those right-handed southpaws who's doing most of the work with his better hand.
All I know is that in America, Jim, a lot of the managers call him the chairman of the Who Needs Him club, because he always makes the opponents look awkward.
Yeah, well, I can see that already. I mean, it's only the first round. Barrett hasn't started yet. Barrett's doing the right thing. Just stop. Don't reach. The worst thing you can do with an elusive opponent or an awkward opponent is to reach with your punches. You have to find a way to get your feet up close and then let them go in 2s and 3s, not single punches. And Barrett is trying to do that. He's just stalking, trying to get into range, finding a way to get into range. But that right jab is going to be a real problem for him.
Whatever happens, Barrett mustn't get disheartened. He's been known to sort of, you know, have little rest in fights over the years, I've noticed. You wondered if he lacked concentration or something. He cannot afford to do that against a skillful guy like this. May not be the best puncher in the world according to his record, but he makes it awkward for those who are.
Barrett's doing the right thing. Just stalk him, try to box him off. It's pointless throwing punches and there's so much room in between the two of them. He's going to have to get close. Just keep stalking, force him into making mistakes. Good stuff from Barrett.
running out of time in the opening round. Nailed him a bit there. Not cleanly. I think he'd have gone down, Jim, if he did. I'm almost sure he would have. He's been on the deck before, Galloway. That's not new to him, but he keeps coming back. Tremendous atmosphere in this GMEX Centre, the old railway station here in Manchester. Long-time associate there, Brian Hughes in the corner. Been with him since he was a lad. Jim,
well, I think Barrett stunned him then, Reg, because he grabbed hold of Barrett, and that's not like him. See, watch now. A nice little thumping right hand right above us, so we actually heard the punch going home, and now Galloway nowhere to go, grabs hold, and that is the final way of getting out of trouble. Just grab hold of your opponent and hang on for dear life.
All calm and collected over there in Barrett's corner, as you would expect. 34 fights, 132, 1 drawn, and 25 of those knockouts or stoppages. Only been 12 rounds once, actually, in a British title defence against Robert Harkin. That's at Wolverhampton. Second round.
Round 2.
Go on, Pat. Closer each round.
Well, a little bit of a testing going on in that opening round, Jim, but I'll tell you what, he is going to be one awkward fellow to fight, Manning Galloway. No wonder he's unmarked.
Well, Barrett wasn't able to do much in the opening round, but what he did was pretty explosive, and he really put Galloway on the defensive. So I think Galloway, now that he's tasted that little right hand, he'll be wondering what the left hook's going to be like, because that's where Barrett does most of his damage. But Barrett, as I say, doing the right thing, just stalking, trying to find a way past that annoying right jab. I think Barrett's problems are going to be maybe falling behind in points and having to become a little bit desperate as the fight goes on, because it won't be easy to build up a lead against a fellow like this.
No, he's trying to cut a few corners there. He's being smart, cutting the ringside down a bit there, Barrett. He knows his business and he can dig with it, Barrett. He's arguably the best single hit puncher in the business, really.
Well, Barrett's punches are looking really sharp there. He's not getting home yet, but he's throwing them well and looking really sharp, and he's poised at all times to let them go. All Barrett wants to do is show a little feint, try to draw the lead when he wants it to come. Don't wait for Galloway to throw the punch. Feint and draw the lead. Force this fellow into some mistakes.
Barrett saying, come on, stand still, I'm dying to nail you, but he's a bit too slippery for that, Galloway.
I'm surprised actually that Galloway hasn't sprung forward with his own left hand, because Barrett is standing right there in front of him. He's thinking about attack, and he could be tagged himself. I'm not saying he would hurt, but certainly break his concentration.
His really eyes are absolutely riveting Barrett on the opponent there. He's staring straight at him. Oh dear.
I think
he
that caught him in the arm
a bit there, didn't he?
Now that punch caught him in the arm. I think that's one of his little mannerisms he showed us there. He certainly wasn't hurt by that. But another good punch, and as soon as Barrett gets close, Galloway's hanging on for dear life, so I think that right hand in the first round is shaking him up a bit.
He's so spidery, Galloway. I can't get over it, Jim. To make all those championship defences, he's certainly given opponents a few headaches over the years.
Yeah, when you see a fighter spreading his legs as far as Galloway does there, he's larking about now. I don't know if he's trying to draw some leads from Barrett, but Barrett doing the right thing, not throwing too much, just trying to find a way to get into punching range.
After a 14-month, 50,000-mile test, the critics at Car magazine described the re-engineered Rover Metro with a few choice words. Metro. It's the only small car good enough to be called a Rover.
The only way to get a higher rate than your top 10 Building Society notice account and instant access is to call this number. I would, if I were you.
Seconds out. Round 3.
Third round. Just a reminder then, scheduled for 12, World Boxing Organisation Welterweight Championship. Malin Galloway defending at 10 stone 7. And Barrett, who was a light welterweight champion of Britain, 10 stone 4.5. Only been stopped twice in 60 fights, Malin Galloway, by Curtis Taylor back in 80, and Charlie Weir, the late South African, actually, in 82. But he's won his last 14 fights, Galloway, and believe me, they have not been against the mugs either. Denmark twice, Australia, South Africa. He's had 7 WBO title fights. He won it actually in Puerto Rico. Jim, he might be an old head, Galloway, but I think he's showing just a little bit of respect now for Barrett, don't you? He's just flinching a bit when he's getting tagged.
I think the punch in the first round has maybe let him know just the power Barrett has. And he looked very ungainly when he tried to throw a left hand at Barrett then. The punch missed and he had to once again grab hold of Barrett. So the first few rounds of this fight might not be really the exciting stuff, but Barrett's going to have to continue doing as he's doing, find a way close. If he becomes frustrated and starts throwing big long swings, he'll be picked off with the counter, so he has to just find a way to get his feet a little bit closer. I think he should be throwing some more feints. Make this fellow throw punches when you want him to throw them, not when he feels like it, and Barrett's not doing that yet. He's just waiting for the punch to come, trying to counter. It's difficult to counter punch a counter puncher.
Good body punch that. The crowd knew it, and I'm sure Galloway did too.
See, that's a few times Galloway has lost his composure. I think he jumped onto the floor then, Reg, just to get out of danger.
Looked like it, didn't it?
Yeah, but looked to me as though that was his only way out. He knew the punches were coming and he jumped down. See, Barrett's getting that bit closer. He's not changed his tactics, and I still feel it's the right way to do the job.
He's fighting a smart fight as we come up to the end of this round then, Barrett. Oh. All those hours of rehearsals in the gymnasiums are really paying off now. Jim, there's the replay.
Well, the main thing is Barrett's really keeping him under pressure. See, look, you can see punches come here. No reason to go over then, Reg. I think it was only he's complaining, but I think he went over voluntarily. See, look, he got himself into a mess, as he's done quite a few times here. See, he's nowhere to go. Barrett's still letting the punches go. That's once or twice Barrett's forced him to lose his composure.
He's standing in the corner the whole time, Galloway, and of course if he decides to sit down later, that always spurs on the opposition, doesn't it? I always think it's a rather foolish thing to do, really.
Corners, 10 seconds. Seconds out. Round 4.
Round 4. Fight of punch power from Barrett, but the necessary timing and the concentration now badly needed.
The problem for Barrett is going to be when he finally has to start going to work to win the rounds. That is when Galloway will prove he's most effective once he gets the leads. I feel that Barrett should be finding a way to force this counter puncher into making leads and give him a chance to come over. He's looking sharp with his punches. This fellow is just so awkward. See, he'll do anything to avoid taking a punch.
Sounds smart to me, Jim, but world champions just don't do that. They get stuck in. That's why they're world champions generally.
Yeah, but I mean, he's really ducked low, he's dived onto the floor, he's grabbed hold of Barrett, he's done everything rather than give Barrett a punching chance.
Oh yeah, exactly. I tell you, he's a bit of an escapologist.
But the main thing is that he's been forced to do these things, so Barrett's pressure, although it's a steady pressure, Barrett's going to have to keep the pressure going but throw some more punches.
He's just stealing a few right-hand leads, Galloway. But you always get the feeling that Barrett's the more threatening of the two. Well, the wind of that punch almost had him over, Jimmy. Missed by a mile there, Barrett. Had he landed, well, what would have happened?
Well, nothing wrong with Galloway's reflexes, Reggie. He's certainly moving quickly. Now and again he's moving into the wrong position, but when he does that he just grabs hold of Barrett. He knows all the awkward tricks. He really is a spoiler. So these little flicks, they're scoring, so Barrett's going to have to get more punches out. He's maybe just going to have to do it the hard way, just march straight forward and let the punches go. He's going to have to take some in return. That's one of the few jabs that Barrett's managed to get home.
It's a stalking championship, isn't it? And I think he's fighting well, Barrett. Seen him quite a lot, and the times when he's been explosive and other times when he's just taken one or two little rests in the fight to spoil his ability. As we get the countdown then for the end of the fourth.
Well, Barrett's very controlled, Reg, but you can see he always wants to throw punches. It's not a lazy performance. It's just a typical opponent. He's always poised to throw the punches, just not getting the chance.
Astras are selling like hotcakes, Atkins. You deserve a holiday. Now, there's a little place I know in Provence.
What luck, an Astra CD.
Oh, yes.
Seatbelt tensioners, reinforced doors.
Good heavens, ABS, power steering.
Our daddy's in the car business.
Oh, in charge of the Astra.
Poor daddy. Never has the time to come with us these days. I blame his assistant, Atkins. He sounds like a bit of a clown to me. By the way, I'm Julia.
Ramsbottom. Jock Ramsbottom.
Round 5, and just a little slight cut, a nick over Barrett's eye, just at the side of the eye, I think. It's a bit difficult to see in the corner, but it's been staunched by the look of it. Trainer Brian Hughes. Barrett will do well if he can draw this fellow into a fight, Jim. That's exactly what he wants.
Well, what he's doing now is what's needed, Reg, just something a little bit different, and he's going to have to just march forward, do it the hard way. The controlled way wasn't really working, so he's just going to have to turn it into a little bit of a brawl. This fella's going to do a lot of grabbing, a lot of holding, a lot of ducking and diving, but if Barrett outworks him, at least he can win the rounds. Might become a little bit untidy, but he's going to have to break this fella's rhythm.
Give him time to think, Pat, on him.
And a bit of ringside advice from Frank Bruno. Don't give him time to think, Pat, he's saying. He's obviously been sent out from the corner there, Barrett, Jim, to start firing a few more punches and taking a few more chances.
Yeah, well, that's the stage it's reached, Reg. He was very controlled, everything was fine, but he wasn't getting the punches home. He's been flicked by little jabs, so he has to try something different. I would like to have seen him maybe showing some feints, making this fellow lead when he doesn't want to throw, but Barrett's always waited for the punches, and that's not been working. But I just think marching straight on, just outright pressure and just let some punches flow, see if he can tag him with something. But the fellow is very awkward.
So you just see a little bit of blood seeping there on Barrett's right eye, Jim. It doesn't look serious. Minute to go in the 5th. And that's the way we keep pinning him in that corner. OK, he'll miss with a lot of punches, but some will get through. And meanwhile, Galloway is not scoring at all. He's just soaking it up. But most of the arms and elbows, I must say, rides him well, isn't he?
Well, as I say, Ed, he's going to have to do it the untidy way. Just outwork Galloway. Don't allow him to throw anything back. And if you're the one throwing the punches, you're the one scoring the points. As I say, it's going to be untidy. Not many clean punches. But maybe one will get home and just give him a chance to capitalise on it. But this fella's very awkward. But at least Barrett is doing the work in this round.
Oh, he's done well there, Jim. And as you saw, the referee warned Galloway for using his shoulder unfairly. Don't think that will bother Barrett too much. Oh dear, what's he doing now? A little bit of nonsense. So here's Gary Newman with Frank Bruno.
Stop yelling at Pat in that round. That suggests that you believe he's doing it the right way now. He's got to get to it. He's got to get on top of him and really press him.
Sorry about the loss of sound there, but I'm sure we'll get Frank back later. That's not easy to shut Frank Bruno up.
Bonus 10 seconds.
So there we are, just using the adrenaline swab in the corner there, a little bit of pressure on it, not much of a cut by boxing standards anyway in Barrett. Put a lot of sawdust in the corner now, the referee, to dry up the corner there. And referee Christodoulou wants the canvas clean, that's quite right.
Round 6.
I think there must be a couple of bits of damage on Barrett's eye. I see a cut at the side and I see a lot of Vaseline on the hair of the eyebrow. So I wonder if there's a couple of bits of damage, but I didn't see the punches that caused the cut. I noticed Galloway going back to the corner at the end of the previous round and touching his head and looking at the glove. I wonder if a little clash of heads caused that cut.
Well, that's, by and large, that's usually the way it happens, Jim, isn't it?
Galloway has no left hand whatsoever, Reg.
No.
A couple of times he's thrown it, no power whatsoever in that.
Carries it to shake hands with, I think, it's about all. A virtually one-handed, slippery southpaw from Columbus, Ohio, Jack Nicklaus' country, and now out of Texas. And I can see why the Americans don't want too much of him, because their fighters won't look good against him. But Barrett's had to take that chance.
I thought Galloway would have been a little bit smoother, Reg, but he's not really. A lot of that is down to Barrett. He's not allowed him to find his rhythm. But Barrett's beginning to stop and just look at him again, and he's not going to win the rounds doing that. He should just pick up where he left off in the previous round, do it the hard way, but get it done.
See, Galloway's been 12 rounds, 11 times, Jim. That makes him a bit of an old warrior, doesn't it, at 32? He's a pro at 18.
See, the way he's skipping around, there is no way he can put any power into his punches, so Barrett's going to have to commit himself, knowing this, whatever comes back his way, there's going to be no power in it, so just get some punches out. I mean, the fellow's just bobbing all over the place. Look at these, that was actually an illegal punch.
Yeah,
then.
backhander. I'm surprised Christodoulou didn't nobble him for that.
Barrett's not really put him under severe pressure this round. He's allowed him to flit all over the place.
Let's hope that no frustration sets in here now with Barrett, because he's been very sharp with his punches. He's fighting what I think is the right tactic against, what Jim Watt keeps saying, the most awkward customer he ever saw in your life.
So look at the way he spreads his legs as he goes back. He can bend, he can sway, he can twist and turn, get that chin out of trouble. Just spreads his legs and sways his head all over the place.
And how would you like this, sir?
You can use a rabbit phone wherever you see a rabbit sign.
Mr. A, did you want fivers or tenors?
Next.
Rabbit, for the well-connected family.
Totally roasting, dude! I'll get the beakers and cabs, you get the roof up.
That's 12 Esser Tiger tokens for each cap and 10 for each beaker.
Freebie-titious, dude, Dad. I got the stuff, man, and I got the roof. Excellent!
Collect Esso Tiger tokens for free Tiger caps and beakers from the Esso collection.
Round 7, 12 rounds, World Boxing Organisation version of the welterweight title. That's 10 stone 7. And Galloway came in right on the button. Actually, he was a few ounces over and had to walk up and down. And believe it or not, there was a fire alarm in the hotel in Manchester while the weigh-in was taking place. But I'm afraid it didn't bother the boxers too much. But maybe it should have done.
See, Barrett kind of shook his head and looked a little bit annoyed there at the way Galloway was flicking and dancing about, but that's what he mustn't do. He mustn't become frustrated. Keep it controlled, but just raise the tempo. He needs a higher tempo, needs some punches coming out. Single punches are no good against this fellow, too awkward.
Yeah, I tried it. At least you could try jabbing with him and then doubling up his punches.
See, I don't like Galloway's punches much, Reg, but at least he's flicking them home and Barrett's missing all the time.
You're losing it, Pat. You've got to get on top, man.
I wouldn't have thought there's any chance of hometown decisions here, Jim, if it's close, because Puerto Rican and Dominican Republic judges and New Jersey, well, maybe the American sees it differently, but it's not going to be an easy fight to score, really, on whether they're quality punches and correctly delivered by Galloway.
No, as I say, I don't like his punches. I don't like the way he flicks them out sometimes in the back of his hand and that type of thing, but at least they're flicking home. No power whatsoever, but they're still punches, and Barrett's missing. Even if Barrett was keeping the rounds closer, I would give them to him for the quality of punch. But he's not even throwing enough punches now. He's doing exactly what Galloway wants him to do. Too much space between the two of them. He has to get closer. Let some punches flow.
You've got to get on top of him. That's it, Pat. You've got to get on top of him. Come on. You're losing it, man.
See, this is what he has to do. He has to sustain an attack. It's no good just fighting little spurts. He has to start an attack and sustain it.
That's the way to do it, to just take advantage of the punch there. The crowd don't like that. He's going
see some blood, yep.
No, he's going to the wrong corner.
No, there's some blood there. It's a bad cut.
Yeah, it's a bad cut.
Barrett might just have won it, Reg.
He's calling for the doctor there. I didn't see as he turned away from him, Jim. I couldn't see that he was cut. I knew that they banged the...
I thought he was
looks like he's going to stop it.
I thought he was complaining about thumb, Reg, but it's a bad cut. It's a bad cut.
7th round, it looks as though Barrett might get this. No, it's box on. A bit confused by that. He's asking now Paddy Byrne, the second, the Irishman from Brighton, to wipe it so he can have a good look at it. But no, he's let it go on. He hasn't called for a doctor's opinion. In any case, the referee has to stop the fight.
If the referee had wanted to take him to the corner to wipe the cut, then fine, but you don't allow a fighter to go to his own corner during a round.
Oh, the crowd are really getting Barrett at it now.
I wonder how many times Galloway's been cut because he didn't cope with that incident like a true champion. You know, he kind of went to pieces a little bit.
Well, with some excitement, and there's the injury. But quick words from Frank Bruno while they're dealing with that cut.
Well, Frank, it seemed that the corner were protesting to the referee, we could hear them, that there was a headbutt.
There was a clash of heads before. It was a clash of heads what called Barrett's cut, so it was a clash of heads what called maybe a Colton, so it's even Stevens, you know.
He's a real ducker and diver, isn't he?
He's more slippery than Grease, this guy, you know. He's a very, very slippery customer. Pat's got to get onto him, on top of him, and really pressure him.
That was it, and it was a clash of heads.
It may have been a clash of heads, but if you check it back, when Pat got cut, it was a clash of heads, Gary.
Barrett's doing it the right way now.
He's got to get on top of him like he wants to make love to him, you know what I mean, and score a lot of points, because if this guy had nick it, he's so slippery.
He won't make love to him, but here's Reg again.
Yep,
Thank
nice
you.
One.
Round 8.
Round 8. And well staunched up in the corner there by Paddy Byrne, very experienced, as they call him in the boxing business, the cut man. But whether he can sustain that now and just keep that staunch for the remainder of the contest, well, the question.
A little bit disappointed the way Galloway coped with that incident, Reg. He seemed to go to pieces a little bit, and I don't think the referee should have allowed him to go back to his corner. But the main thing is Barrett's put a big dent in his defences now.
He must really fancy his chances now, Barrett. Because as you say, Jim, he was almost wanted to duck out of it. What's that all about, Jim? He's got cramped to go with it. He's a bit of an actor, this fella.
I don't know if it's just more of this silly stuff we've been seeing from him, with this kind of posturing. But Barrett getting a bit closer now, but he just has to let some punches go.
Well, a little bit of an elbow go there, according to the referee. Certainly Galloway was doing more than his share of stealing points. It's intriguing, really, to know how these judges are going to cope with it if it goes 12 rounds.
See, Barrett just has to make this guy work harder. He's been allowing him too many rounds where he's fiddling around and slipping the jab, just prodding away with it. Barrett's going to have to make every round now the same as this one. Stay right on top of him, keep the punches pumping out.
I've never seen Frank Bruno get so excited. He's leading right up on the ropes there, saying, stay cool to Barrett.
There's a nice right hook from Galloway. That's as good as heel throw, but it didn't trouble Barrett at all.
No, he marched straight on, Jim, didn't he?
Yep, that was a lovely punch from Galloway. Didn't trouble Barrett in the slightest.
Minute to go in the 8th round.
See, the problem missing with so many punches as Barrett has done it takes a lot of steam out of you. But having said that, he still looks certainly plenty left. So this is it back into that little routine that Galloway enjoys. Barrett's got to get him out of that. Yeah. Galloway likes this, just waiting for the single lead to come when he flicks the jab over.
With Barrett, Jim, such a chiller hitter, but you've got to land the punch. That's the problem with this fellow.
So I just like to see Barrett show some feints, make this fellow make the first move. Just feint at him and draw something from him. But Barrett's always waited for the lead to come and then try to counter it. You have to force that lead out.
Both going to the same corner, but Mr. Galloway being told, no, sorry, over here, you need repairs.
I tell you what, Reg, he needs a good tailing off. A fighter who's cut should march back to the corner, use every second. I'm surprised the experience this fella has. He dawdles back to the corner with a cut like that. A couple of signs of unprofessionalism.
That's the adrenaline swab stick there, adrenaline 1 in 1,000. The only thing the Border Control Medical Commission will allow for staunching cuts.
That's a long cut, Reg. Paddy Byrne's doing a good job on it, but that's a long cut.
Still standing in the corner. He's a bit saucy.
He's shaking his head, Reg. He doesn't seem too pleased with what's happening. Don't look too happy, does he?
Bonus 10 seconds. Seconds out. Round 9.
And we're into the 9th round of the Welterweight Championship of the World, WBO version. Just to let you know about Manning Galloway, the defending champion. There he is with his graffiti on the trunks there. 60 fights, 148. Lost 11, 1 drawn.
I'm just thinking, Reg, that the way Galloway reacted to that cut, I wondered if he would have enjoyed it, maybe going to one of these technical decisions or something, because they put a big show and reacted badly. I wonder if he was hoping for something along those lines, because he really looked as though he wanted the action stopped then.
Yeah, if they claimed it was an accidental cut, then they'd gone to points decisions. We remember a long time ago now, it seems, Lloyd Hannigan being robbed of a championship, really, didn't he, against a Mexican that way.
Galloway's flicking the jab home. Look at the way he throws that left hand. That's terrible. He's got no left hand at all. Barrett standing off, waiting for the lead again.
So he keeps sneaking those punches, Jim, the right-hand lead, doesn't he, Galloway?
See, Barrett's doing the perfect thing, a southpaw. Once you do a southpaw counter punch, they're just walking in, looking for a single shot. So Galloway's got a fairly long lead, and he's just nicking it right onto the target now. Barrett's allowing him to control the pace.
Roll your shots! Let him throw! Let him throw!
Just posing a little bit there at times, isn't he, Barrett? Instead of producing, he's just got to grip that gum shield and go straight in and take his chance. This is the big one, as he said before the fight.
He wants to back this fella up to the ropes, then a little feint and draw a lead in and see if he can come over the top, but he's just waiting for the punch to come. It's never worked all the way through. It's not putting him under enough pressure, Reg.
No, he's allowing the guy to sneak this round, isn't he? I can see now, Jim, how he's done it in other people's backyards all the time. I mean, he really is a difficult one. Certainly not a great fighter by any means, is he? But he's difficult.
No, he's not as good as I expected, Reg. I expected a lot more technique. He's very awkward, but the way he grabs and ducks and dives and the quality of the punches he throws, they don't make him a great fighter, Reg, by any means. We've seen a lot of good counter punchers who throw real quality punches. This fellow Galloway doesn't do that. An awkward little southpaw flick he has, and that's where he scores all his points.
Coming up to the end of the 9th.
Well, Galloway tried a bit